Hey there, groovy ghoulies. Tonight's story is about a man whose family really bugs him. Our 13th caller's titled this story, Hidden Potential. Alright, caller, you're on the air.
I parked in the driveway of my childhood home. Once a beautiful white house was now an ugly, warm gray. Large strips of paint peeled off the siding and decorative shutters missing from broken windows. This was no longer the idyllic country home I remembered. Ma would be heartbroken, I thought, and wondered what kind of people lived here and how they could let the place go. Did I even want to know? My eyes drifted from the house to the envelope in my passenger seat, the reason for this visit. The letter was from my brother. First I've heard from him in years. Apparently my dad was on his way out any day now, and the old man wanted to see me, make amends for how things went down between him and my mom. She left him when I was 10, took me with her. My dad kept my younger brother Dustin. I figure something big must have happened between them because she refused to give me a reason she'd up and RUNOFT. Wouldn't even tell me on her deathbed. Didn't want my brother or father to know she kicked the big one either. I've always felt bad about that. If I knew how to contact them, I would have. Lord knows how they found me. I considered turning around and driving home. Forget the whole thing, grab some fast food and watch some TV. I'll pour a Diet Coke out for the old man from the comfort of my couch. No, it's like Ma used to say, you shouldn't judge a person before you know their situation. My brother might be too busy caring for our sick father to tend to the house. Hell, I could relate. Looking after Ma these last few years left me little time for anything else. I wasn't exactly excited about this reunion, so maybe I was looking for an excuse to get out of here. I didn't know these people from Adam, but I knew my ma and she probably had good reason to leave. Still, I was here, and I had questions that needed answers. I opened my glove box, pulled out the small pocket knife I kept hidden inside, clipped it to my belt, turned the ignition off, and climbed out of the car. The air was cool and damp, filled with the faint smell of mildew. What little sun that broke through the shade of the trees highlighted the clumps of swarming gnats. Something struck the side of my head, hard. I swatted it to the ground, then looked. A cockroach lay on its back, legs and antenna waving at me. I crunched it beneath my shoe. I hate cockroaches. Wasn't no need for that, came a voice from the house. Descending the steps towards me was a young man in a hoodie, my little brother. We had the same nose, the same pinched brow. However, he lacked some of my better features. He was thin, and his pale skin looked bluish in spots, sickly. Dustin? I held out my hand, but he brushed it aside and hugged me, his elbows digging into my ribs. The kid was all bone and sharp angles. Strong, too. Yeah, it's great to see you, too. I pulled away. So this is the old homestead, huh? I barely remember it. This is it. Still standing after all these years. Come in. I've ordered out. I followed him into the house. Entryway was dark, dusty, and smelled of dry rot. Wood furniture lined the walls, cracked from years of neglect. Candles led the way to the dining room at the end of the hall. Power out? Oh no, nothing like that. We like to keep things dark. We prefer it. That so? I fidgeted with the knife clipped to my belt. Is Dad joining us? Please sit, Dustin said, gesturing to a small dining table. Candles decorated its center. Their faint light illuminated the patches of dark fungus that spotted the deteriorating tabletop. Boxes of Chinese food sat at the opposite end. The smell of takeout mixed with stale air. I remember you liked Chinese food. Dustin looked down as if trying to concentrate on a far-off thought. You used to order General Tso's with broccoli and fried rice. He beamed, pleased he remembered my order and sat at the table. Yeah, I haven't had it in a while. Trying to watch the weight. His smile fell. Oh, he said. When did you say Dad was joining us? Here. He set 2 of the white boxes in front of me. Dig in, it's good. He grabbed a box of rice and shoveled the food into his mouth, making exaggerated yummy noises. I picked through chunks of chicken and broccoli. The stuff looked all right until legs emerged from the sauce and fumbled for my chopsticks. A cockroach, fat from gorging on meat and vegetables, pulled itself onto my utensil. My stomach heaved. I jumped to my feet, threw the chopsticks on the ground, then brought my foot down, popping the roach in a meaty burst of thick red slime. I told you, wasn't no need for that, Dustin yelled. He was out of his chair getting in my face. I could smell his breath, bad like compost. Listen, I'm sorry, it's just this is a lot for me. I really just want to see Dad. He composed himself. Yeah, okay. I guess it's about time you seen him. Dustin led me down a candle-lined hallway framed with family photos decorating stained, rotten walls. I gripped my knife. The kid scared me. This house scared me. I wanted to leave, but I needed to see Dad and get an idea of his condition. We stopped outside a door. Here. He opened it, releasing trapped air that stunk of earth and compost. The candles in the hall illuminated the room well enough to see, and I went in. My old man sat in a rocking chair at the back, a dried husk, paper-thin skin stretched across the bone. He stared at me with eyeless sockets, not quite empty. Deep within them, things moved, their hard bodies reflecting bits of light. Beneath his denim jacket, his button-down shirt throbbed with life, and an uneasiness gripped me. I could hear their scraping and scuttling, and the air caught in my throat. For a second, I couldn't breathe. I went to him and ripped his shirt open. Hundreds of cockroaches poured onto the floor. The insects crawled over my feet and up my pant legs. I swatted and kicked them, stomping any that came near me. Dad's body went and dried up on him. Needs a new one, Dustin said from the doorway. Thought you'd be a good fit. His thin arms wrapped around me and he squeezed. He just needs to find a hole. The cockroaches swarmed us. They landed on my face, their antennas dancing on my skin. I felt a searing pain in my ear. They ate, chewing a hole big enough to fit their bodies inside my ear canal. I cried out, and a roach flew into my mouth. I crunched it between my teeth. Fluids coated my tongue with the taste of iron. They crawled beneath my pants leg, biting into the flesh of my calf while others worked their way to more tender areas. I kicked, shaking them loose, and brought my foot down on Dustin's. He yelped and let go. I elbowed him in the nose, pulled the knife from my belt and flicked it open. Dustin lunged, and I buried the tip in his stomach. He looked surprised. I pulled the blade across, opening both him and his hoodie. Cockroaches poured from the wound. His body deflated. Eyeballs fell from their sockets, replaced by a cascade of roaches fighting to escape his shriveling face. I pushed through the mass of cockroaches that were once Dustin and ran into the hallway, stumbling over the candles. Behind me, I heard the buzz of insects and the crackle of flames. The wallpaper was catching. Escaping the house, I closed the front door and cleared the stairs in 2 strides. Something heavy struck the door and shook the frame. The doorknob jiggled and fell, and cockroaches spilled from the hole. I ran to my car and crawled inside as the mass of roaches took flight. Insects landed on the hood, windshield, and roof. I hit the wipers. They rolled over the bugs, severing legs and heads, their guts smeared across the glass. With my foot on the gas, I exited the driveway and onto the road. I didn't stop. Behind me, the cloud of roaches became a swirling blot in the sky, then a dot, a speck, and then they were gone. I leaned back in my seat and exhaled. My hands gripped the steering wheel and I laughed. I was alive.
Thanks for calling. Sounds like our caller made the right choice. He escaped that toxic environment before Dustin and his dad could get under his skin. It's important to establish boundaries, bloody buddies. A bad relationship could leave you a shell of your former self. That's it for me. Come back next month for another creepy tale. Until then, I'll be right here waiting for the next 13th caller.